Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shasuko, and today we are finally doing the video going over all of Toji's and Mahoraga's drops within Legends ReWritten. Now, I am literally a month late to this update, so we're going to start with the Mahoraga drops because Mahoraga has some insane gear. So Mahoraga spawns in at Winter Day 2 at 8 AM on Shibuya, and it's actually going to be Megumi who spawns in. Just like Jogo, you have to fight Megumi for a little while, and then he will eventually summon in the Divine General, aka Mahoraga. Now, Mahoraga is a very challenging boss fight because he is very unique. Over time, just like how he does in the actual anime, he adapts to certain magic attacks, so he might get used to magic damage, might get used to the melee, so he'll take a lot less attack damage, and then the same thing with range, so on and so forth. Every time you hear the wheel turn, that is when he switches what he is weak to and not. So it is a rather hard boss fight. Let's get into all of his drops. So first off, the first two drops that are noteworthy are going to be the Jujutsu Pants, which give an 18% summoner magic damage bonus, which is great. And then the Jujutsu Coat, which gives the exact same buffs. Then Mahoraga drops much better gear, which is the literal Mahoraga set. The Mahoraga Pants give 8% summoner magic damage and 10% divine blade damage with overall very good stats. He also drops the Mahoraga Plate, which gives 8% summoner magic damage and the same 10% divine blade damage, with again some very powerful overall stats. And then the Mahoraga Head is the exact same thing, same stats, same buffs, great stats overall, and it is very good to use. And then he also drops the Divine Wheel, which is one of the craziest neck pieces in the entire game. It gives a 10% Divine Blade damage buff, but also gives passive healing every 15 seconds, which heals you for around 400 HP, which is really good. And then also, after that passive healing happens, attack, magic, range, and defense is increased by 15% for 8 seconds after every heal. It is easily one of the most useful best neck pieces in the entire game. The last thing that Mahoraga drops is going to be the Divine Blade itself. The Divine Blade is a very strong melee weapon. It has a very good M1 combo and a very good V-spec. So before we get into the artifact, I want to highlight the Mahoraga build using the Divine Blade and Heavenly Restriction. As you guys can see, if you are solely focusing on attack damage with the Divine Blade, you can do a stupid amount of DPS with this thing. This setup is easily one of the best in the game, and it is a lot of fun and very refreshing to use because it doesn't rely on 6-eyes. And I know I haven't mentioned Heavily Restriction yet. We're going to get more into that blessing once we cover Toji's drops. Let's get more into the actual summoner magic, or the 10 shadows, whatever you want to call it. First move that the summoner gives you is the Toad. And every single move that the summoner magic has summons an entity to fight for you. So the frog attack isn't the best. You basically summon a frog, and then if you click on an enemy, the frog's tongue will go out, attach to the enemy, bring him back in, and deal a couple thousand damage. I really don't think the frog attack's the best. Next attack is the Shadow Dogs attack, which you get at level 50. You just, again, summon in the Shadow Dogs, but except the Shadow Dogs are pretty powerful because it does more of an AoE attack wherever you click your mouse. And you can spam this pretty quickly, and it does deal a couple thousand damage, and I think it is a pretty powerful move overall, and it, again, just does a lot of pretty solid damage. The next attack you get is known as Winged Beast, and you get this at level 100. Winged Beast is unbelievably powerful. You summon in an owl, and you can spam like lightning electricity attacks for an insane amount of damage if you're using 6-eyes and gear 2 with as much magic damage buff as you can. You just deal insane amounts of damage with this thing. It is easily one of the best magic attacks in the game. The spec for summoner is known as the Divine General, and you literally summon Mahoraga himself. And the Divine General is one of the best specs in the game because you can literally 1v1 Law with only using the Divine General attack. You don't need to use anything else and you can kill him. It is very powerful, but my only downside with it is it does take up the spec slot, which means you're not going to be able to use Gear 2 for that extra damage buffs. You're not going to be able to use Super Saiyan. I will usually use something like Gear 2 over it. But if you don't have anything like that, it is one of the best specs in the game. Before we move on, of course, I gotta go over its dash. I don't know why I'm covering this last, but its dash is also very good. It is basically a better version of the Esper dash. It uses mana to use, but it is very, very quick and is definitely one of the coolest dashes in the game because it basically is more like riding on a mount than a dash. Now let's get into everything that Toji drops. So Toji is a brand new boss and he spawns in at any spawn location, just like Zoro. It will tell you where he spawns. He spawns in at fall day 1 at 17 and spring day 1 at 17 o'clock. Again, any location. When he spawns in, he'll tell you like Mount Frenzy, Flower Village, or something like that. First, we gotta go over the Heaven Spear. The Heaven Spear is easily one of the best melee weapons in the entire game. On its own, it's not the best. However, if you also have the neck piece known as the Cursed Worm, which also comes from Toji, gives a 10% attack damage buff, 15% range damage buff, but the main highlight of the Cursed Worm is it unlocks the Heaven Spear special. Now that you can use the Heaven Spear's V-Spec with the worm on, it becomes one of the strongest weapons in the entire game. If you combo this with the Heavenly Restriction Blessing, which was the new blessing that came out when Toji was released, what the blessing does is give you an extra 300% attack damage increase and range damage increase, which is crazy. But it reduces your magic damage by 65% and greatly increases magic mana cost, so basically it makes all magic useless. But if you combo this with the Heaven Spear with its insane V-Spec, you do crazy amounts of damage to literally everybody. You can ignore all magic when using this build and only use the spear and kill most bosses. Now the one downside with being super melee focused like this is you do need to be in the enemy's face at all times to, well, even do damage to them. But as you guys can see, this build works very good. It is a lot of fun to use and it's doing ridiculous amounts of damage combos. It is honestly one of the best weapons in the whole game. Only downside is you have to have that neck piece on in order for it to be an effective weapon. The final thing that Toji drops is going to be known as the Flash Step. So the Flash Step is one of those equip specs you can put on swords with no specs. I like to put it on the new fish sword, and it is overall a pretty powerful spec. It has a 7-second cooldown. It deals a lot of damage. The only downside is its 7-second cooldown. It is a little long. But if you put it on a pretty strong weapon that has no spec, it actually makes the weapon pretty powerful overall, and plus the animation on it looks fantastic. Anyways guys, that was everything that was added in the Mahoraga and Toji updates that I missed the last month. Let me know down below if there's anything I forgot that I absolutely needed to mention. Let me know if you guys enjoyed as well. Leave a like if you did, it really helps your boy out. Subscribe for more, and I will see you guys all in my next Legends ReWritten video. Bye!